in here to move the stones out of the way
it had
and
to
pile
be.
them up on the sides. So that was a lot of labor, and a large part of it was donated or discounted.
It'd be interesting to know the geology of this.
Yes, I've seen some very interesting rock surfaces. If I see my favorite rock, I'll point it out.
All right. Adopt a rock. There you go, adopt a rock. It's a fundraiser.
Oh yeah, ooh, that's not a bad idea.
This is great. It's just in the original right now.
So right about here, folks, you start to feel, you know, the kind of angled rise that will become more difficult for accessibility purposes. And I believe that we're on, I can't be certain, but I believe that we're on the part of the trail that will be circumvented. It's going to be a shortcut that takes this section out altogether. This will remain open as a walkable trail, but there will be an accessible route that does not use this particular slope.
You like about your head?
He wants you.
Then give me the leash and I'll hold him.
It's rather sharp gravel.
Sorry for interrupting your run.
Oh yes, so we do have one piece of that puzzle coming together right now. I think they're not so yes, that's
Excuse
the.
me.
Oh, sorry.
No, I'm sorry.
The bigger, longer picture. So is there already half and shaft?
Excuse me, I'm sorry.
That's okay.
Putting in more culverts and addressing the water issues on the trail. As you can imagine, such a steep landscape, the water has to go somewhere.
Right.
And the first round of construction was in a very dry part of the year, so some of the water issues weren't realized until after that stage was done.
Yeah, so it sounds like probably
Yeah.
Who did the construction on this trail? Do you know?
So it's been
Was it volunteers or?
It's actually several different phases of construction. The first phases of construction were done by Maine Conservation Corps crew and our local volunteers.
Okay.
And then after that, there were a few rounds of construction with volunteer and discounted machine labor, working toward making this a more smooth and graded surface.
Okay.
Last couple of years, starting in 2020 and moving to 2021, we had a company named Kennebec Trail Company, I believe.
Okay.
I could correct that later
Yeah.
if necessary. That they put the gravel surface that you see now on and did some of the tighter switchbacks along the way. And now we are in the final phase where we had a professional trail builder look at all the deficiencies that need to be corrected before we could be accessible.
Yep.
And they are going ahead with that work this summer.
Wow. So is this donated?
To the land?
Yeah, you can talk about the land.
Sure. So the land was conserved by the town of Acton. The town of Acton owns this 25-acre parcel that's all wooded, that forms basically the eastern slope of Goat Hill. The other slopes are part of two orchards. The Romac Orchard, which is very well known for its apple picking in the fall, and the Far From the Tree Cidery Orchard, which is also kind of a big name. So, so those three entities bought up what was the original Romac Orchard.
Oh, okay.
And that was a massively successful conservation project helped along by fundraising from the Land Trust, and also a large contribution from the town of Acton itself. The people of the town of Acton contributed quite a bit to the purchase of this property.
Okay.
And so the Land Trust has had a agreement with the town of Acton to design, build, and maintain this trail over time. And as funding has become available, we have worked toward this accessible standard, which was a goal very early on in the project. Of course, it's been a big learning curve.
Oh, I'm sure. Yeah.
The first accessible trail we ever build will be this one. So, of course, we had to start our learning from scratch.
Yes.
And we are grateful to have had the opportunity to learn so much about such a necessary element of trail building. You know, if we never learned the lessons that we've learned here for building accessible trails,
Yes.
yeah, that would have been, we would have missed opportunities to do this sort of thing on other properties in the
Yes.
future. So,
Now, are there any other projects in the workings now?
there are thought processes going on. Oh, here's my favorite rock, by the way.
Oh,
That is a geological strangeness. I don't know what that geological what? I don't know what it is. It's just odd to me. No other rock out here has this sort of
looks like the surface of the moon.
strange texture. And
Yes.
reminds me of those rocks that
Yes.
have like individual shells and so on. Sorry, I'm sorry.
No,
Your
that's
most recent
fine.
question?
No. Any other projects in the workings?
Oh yes. So we just acquired the Sanford Community Forest,
Oh,
which is 547 acres. And that is only 3 miles from downtown Sanford. It's an amazing property. It has a lot of young forests that have a long time to grow up, but we intend it to be a place where people can go and recreate,
Yeah.
where we can demonstrate some sustainable forestry. And as we're just starting to think about the trails there, we want to start thinking about accessible trails very early in the process.
very good.
So,
Yes.
you know, if it works out, which I believe it will, then over time, with the right funding, we would build some type of an accessible trail there.
Oh, wonderful.
But it's part of the effect of having worked on this project is that we had it in our minds already that we wanted to think about accessible trails from the get-go with that brand new project.
Right.
And I think that's very important because you can either build a trail that's just, you know, what your typical trail is, or you can think it through and plan for that accessible trail, even if it takes you longer to create.
Right.
At
500
least,
acres, you can do a lot. Yes. So how do you get to acquire this land?
And so much of that is unfortunately just
How do I get to, sorry?
Acquire this land? I mean,
So we don't actually own this property, but you're talking about the Sanford
right,
Community Forest.
exactly.
So yes, that was a combination of a lot of generosity and some very important statewide programs.
Oh, okay.
So the Sanford Community Forest was acquired in two pieces. One was fully funded by the Maine Natural Areas Conservation Program. Maine Natural Resources Conservation Program.
Okay.
MNRCP is called.
Oh, okay.
So folks, this is kind of an interesting point here. This was part of the original trail. So you can see how steep that slope is. And we've been walking up, and you know, I've been talking the whole time, so I'm kind of getting out of breath myself. But trying to climb that was just not going to be possible with any kind of mobility assistive devices. Well, some, I'm sure, but we thought about zigzagging across the slope, and that didn't seem to work because of the way the land falls off. So this is the direction that our last contractor chose to take. We will have to make some modifications to this still, but it is a much gentler slope overall than going up here and making that hard turn toward the summit at the top. So at this point you can kind of see a little bit of the phases of trail development that we've been going through here and the choices that we're making to make this more accessible for all.
Are the old sections still going to be an option?
This one we may
I mean, you got to keep it.
we may discourage only because it's so steep that will cause erosion for people to continue using it. But the other section that I mentioned we'd be circumventing down below, that will remain open.
That's an option.
Yeah, exactly. So there will be the main accessible trail, And then there will be at least that one optional
Side
trail.
trail.
Yes.
How many acres again did you say this was?
About 25 acres.
25.
What's the final length versus the old length going to be?
So the original length, if I'm remembering right, the first time I measured it, and this is after I came on board in 2019, first time I measured it, I came up with 0.65 miles. The final length is going to be 0.8, roughly, or 0.81.
I thought it was going to be short.
Yeah, so it's very short, but over that short of a length, rising 150 feet, 151 feet actually, we've had our trail building experts tell us that that is an extreme challenge, not only because of the rocky landscape and the ledge that you have to go around, but just trying to fit that much gentle elevation gain into that short of a trail is tricky, very tricky. So I'm glad we have some really good professional trail builders on board right now to help us finish this right down to the last details.
Are you going to have like any kind of benches or anything for people to rest on?
That'll be part of the ultimate plan. We have a few bench seating or natural bench seating options that we're going to work into the construction, but we may be placing benches after that and continuing to fill in those gaps where people would probably need a seat after a certain number of feet along the trail. I can't guarantee that we'll get all of the seating in that we want in the next couple of years, but we'll be slowly working to make sure that there are more and more options.
I think it just opens it up to more people.
Exactly.
Might feel
Yeah.
challenged.
If they didn't want to go all the way, they could go a certain way and
Or
sit.
just take a rest and
Yeah.
then continue, or have a drink of water or something.
Exactly. Yeah, that's very important to us in this process, and our current trail builder really takes that to heart. He's always thinking about how the user experience will be as people climb this trail.
Can you repeat that comment about that texture of the boulder? I didn't catch
Oh, it's my favorite rock.
it. Okay.
That's all that there is about it. It's,
No scientific explanation.
no, I'm afraid not. I'm not a geologist, but of all the rocks out here, and there's many, and there's a variety of different textures, that one seems odd to me. It reminded me of a rock that I had in my rock collection when I was young that had all these shells embedded in it. Has kind of that smooth and broken apart texture. So I look at it, I'm like, I wonder if I cracked you open, would I find all kinds of little fossil shells inside? But no, it's just my favorite rock. If anybody knows more about geology, which would probably be most people, feel free to comment on it.
It does have a nice texture.
It does, yes. Any more questions before we move along? Okay.
So was the gravel that you put down always, did you always know it was going to be temporary, but you'd have to do
Actually,
something
no,
else
we
later, or-
originally thought that it was going to be the permanent surface. But once the rain started to wash away the fine material in between the larger stones, we realized that it was not keeping the firm surface that is necessary for accessible design. So, after I actually ran a test with it to make sure I wasn't just imagining that it was too loose. I loaded 4 gallons of water into a baby stroller, and I tried pushing it up this hill. And those wheels would dig in so hard, and the whole thing would just grind to a stop. And I'm like, no way, this is not going to work. And that's actually a recommended test for accessible trails, is to put about 40 pounds. I didn't have a small child handy, so put about 40 pounds in a baby stroller and see if you can navigate the surface. If you can't, then you've got issues that you need to solve, and that's what that told us. And then we started looking into what else we could fix. I like this section here where the birches were reserved.
Yeah.
It gets real narrow, but it's still wide enough.
Yes.
I'm actually not certain that this will be part of the final route, but because the turns here are very
Yeah.
tight. Yeah, birch trees are some of my favorites.
You know, is this going to be the elevation for the end? Because I have a disabled nephew. how he could ever push him in his wheelchair.
Right. I don't think that this grade is going to persist. I think the angle of the grade here is too steep for the length that it is.
Right.
So not only will the surface be better and easier to roll on, but it will be shorter sections if they are this steep at all. I think that our contractors aim for less steep than this. So that said, it still will be a challenge for some people in some devices.
Oh, yes.
This is not going to be an easy trail for everyone.
They know better than me.
Possible for the wide team. We did have one adventurous member of ours that tried this with a powered wheelchair, and she did make it to the summit.
Wow.
It would drain the batteries of the wheelchair faster than other trails because of the uphill climb. But he made it up and down safely and was very pleased with the experience.
That's great.
Yeah, that said, I can't recommend it to people at this point. I know, because it's just not to the standards that would make it reasonably safe. No trail is ever 100% safe for reasonable.
I was glad to see the sign that they were even trying to do it.
Yeah, exactly. But we got far enough along in the process, and we thought after the last round of construction, is easy good enough? Easy for a lot of people? Is that good enough? No, we just thought, no, immediately we were like, no, not good enough. We need to reach standards. And so that's why we're making this final push.
And was that all right from the very start of doing this trail, or was it always to make it accessible? Or
Yeah, good question.
did it change
Yeah.
over the years?
Part of the original funding that we received for the land acquisition for conserving these properties was from the Land and Water Conservation Fund, something that can only be a fund that can only be tapped through a municipality. So working with the town of Acton to do this conservation, and that came with a little bit of money to start the trail. In fact, quite a bit of money, but it was enough to rough it out, I guess. So the Land and Water Conservation Fund, those folks actually favor projects that include some accessible design or accessible trail segments. So they encouraged us to think about it, and we said, yeah, we'd love to. We had no idea how hard it was going to be, but we said, yes, absolutely. We would love to make this accessible for everybody that wants to see the summit. So that's what sparked it. Was that initial encouragement by a funder. And also once we started talking to the community and realized, wow, everybody seems really supportive of this idea. So that got us started, and that was 2016, 2017 that those conversations were happening. So well before the trail was even started.
And then once you had that goal in mind, like, what are the other close ones around that had already, like, did you have something to go by? Like,
Yeah,
that's
interesting. We didn't have a whole lot of outside assistance, and had we known better, we probably would have sought more people that had done similar trails. Not that there's anything quite like this in the state of Maine. I don't know if there are climbing accessible trails in other states, but I've never heard of one like this across ours. So as the process has gone on and we've learned more, we have certainly learned a lot from these people that know their accessible trails. And I think we're in a much better position now to finish it successfully and to maintain it in what it should be, according to those standards. One of the interesting things is that we had to kind of choose what standard we could get to for this trail. There are multiple accessibility standards. Some apply to buildings, some apply to parking lots, some apply to recreational trails like this one. And so we had to find out which set of standards we could achieve and which one to absolutely shoot for. We settled on the U.S. Forest Service Accessible Outdoor Recreation Guidelines, which is a big, complicated acronym. But those are the standards that we're shooting for. It details the grade that you can have for what length of time. It details where you have to have resting areas, how wide the trail needs to be, and details about the parking area as well. So, yeah, all of that has contributed to our final design.
Do you know who the engineer was to design this plan?
The last bit of the plan here is being designed by the Caribou Recreation Development Company. That's run by Mike Cooper.
Okay.
He created the design for what we're shooting for in the end here. That meets and matches those standards. And he will actually be carrying out the construction too.
Oh,
He was
okay.
the successful bidder for the construction.
Oh, okay, great.
Almost there, folks.
And have you been like approached by other people, like other
Communities?
communities or like anyone else trying to do the same thing that you've done?
There's tons of interest right now in accessible trails, and I love it. I love that there are so many organizations thinking about this. Very many of them are planning or working on much gentler slopes. Even a half-mile accessible trail is better than no accessible trail.
Right.
The number of organizations that I hear about planning these things is growing and growing. I think it will continue to be a very popular project to undertake, which is excellent. Build up the portfolio of projects of this type in Maine.
I think this is a wonderful idea.
Looks like maybe not perfect viewing weather up here, but it should still be very nice. I got a picture from one of my board members the other day showing the White Mountains.
Oh.
They're visible kind of off of our right-hand side at times.
Wow.
Probably not today, though. It's
No.
a little too hazy.
Hazy, yeah.
So we'll give everybody a chance to roam around and take in the view. Maybe we'll gather and talk a little bit about the particulars of what we'll be doing up here.
Okay, wonderful.
That's not Washington. Is that it? All the snow.
This is in top of the trail. And there's picnic tables here, and you can have picnics and everything. It's a beautiful view.
Where? That's great.
Dexter, yes.
best seat. And the best view. And I thought I was overdressed. You know? It is beautiful. Stay close by.
You say this for you is bowling.
Okay.
Oh, yeah. That's not what we want to see. No, gravel will be much easier to maintain over time. You know, the steepness of the slope, we're going to have to adapt even after the trail is completed. We'll have to always be on the lookout for any problems developing, work on maintenance annually. The town has actually committed a certain amount of money to an annual maintenance fund, which is fantastic. That really gets it going, and we'll be also fundraising annually to make sure that we have enough to take care of the trail.
Have you been to the Ospey Pine Barrens in Madison?
I haven't, no.
There's a accessible trail there, but they got it a whole lot easier because it's pretty flat. But it's got that fine like playground.
Yeah, almost. Is it like pebbles or?
It's just real fine.
Yeah,
and
yeah.
it's perfect. Almost
I've seen
sand.
a good trail surface that had almost stone dust-like material. I think
Yeah, that's kind of like what it is.
I think we can't quite do that here only because of the slope.
Right.
You know, that fine dust would erode too quickly. But the gravel mix that we're considering, we're going to test it, compact it, and make sure that it's going to stay the way that we should have it on this trail. It's going to be a long process. Our contractor will be here for a certain number of weeks, but we're also going to continue after he's gone, making sure of things, testing, maybe having to adjust a few last items before we call the trail completely open.
Cheryl, how far back does the land trust own? Because I seen like a driveway going down there.
Yes. So this road used to be part of the original orchard.
Okay.
Just a path up and over the summit to go to both sides of it. But
Okay.
this is now far from the tree cidery. And this is the Romac orchard.
Okay, yeah. I was just curious.
And this piece in between, owned by the town of Acton, is bounded by rock walls that you mostly can't see.
Okay.
But basically where the trees are is the town's property.
Okay.
And then when it turns to regular fields, that is one of the two orchards.
Okay, I was just curious. And I also noticed there's a well. Did you notice the well down there in that
I
driveway?
don't know anything about that, do you?
It's for watering the trees. It's for the orchard.
Oh, it's for the orchard?
A great big garden out there.
Oh, okay. Okay, yeah.
Do the answer to that question?
Yes. Oh. Wow. Yeah, okay.
Well, we didn't.
Huh.
And they had all that money to put in.
Yep. That's typical. I'm sorry.
Yeah. But now that well is here on the town of Acton property, if they want
It's usable.
Yeah. It doesn't seem that old either. Yeah. It's an artesian well, so. Yeah.
I'm thinking that we'll probably gather people in a few minutes. Looks like you folks are having
It's
some really nice
beautiful. It's
conversation.
beautiful.
Yeah, it was very nice to see such a crowd arrive today.
Yes.
And to be able to show up in Washington and everything.
I know.
Yes.
It does. That's the best I've seen.
Very
Me
nice.
too.
Yeah,
Yes,
with the,
yes,
with the
yes.
snow cover and everything.
And no leaves right now. It's
Exactly.
really perfect.
Yeah. Couldn't have picked a better day.
Now-
Well, maybe a degree or two warmer.
Yeah.
Hey, so
Now
how are we
sh-
going to do the cleanup?
So that will start fairly soon. So we're going to have the contractor here to finalize the areas that he needs cleared. And once he has marked out and discussed with us what exactly is needed, we're going to start, well, actually Carl
Carl. Okay.
Carl is going to start organizing regular volunteer crews. They'll probably happen rapid fire. Like, we don't have much time to do this, so we might even have one every week, possibly more if the weather's nice, to get people up here with loppers and other equipment to just clear down those areas that need clearing before the contractor starts doing his stuff. So, yeah, that'll start happening. Right now we're at the end of April. I would imagine before the end of May, we'll have those work days starting. Yeah.
Before the black flies.
Probably not.
Oh, wicked, wicked, wicked.
The nice thing about the summit is that it's almost always breezy up here.
True.
I've almost never had a bug bite while being up here on the summit. And it makes it very nice for picnics.
True.
Except for kites flying away.
Yeah, true.
The chainsaw workers, that's part of volunteer days too.
We do have some people that are qualified to use chainsaws and have all the proper safety equipment that help us out with some of the clearing. We may need chainsaw folks for some of the work along the trail, so we'll be putting that detail into our emails when that comes up. We did have professional fellers come to the summit last year.
Yeah, take out those dead trees. Yeah.
Taking down the dead trees that we're posing on this windy summit. We're posing a bit of a hazard to safe enjoyment.
Sometimes nature takes care of the falling anyway.
Sometimes, but we decided to get a little bit ahead of it. Yeah.
When the wind came, took these guys down, it took down a live tree though. That was
Yeah.
I can imagine the wind is pretty severe up here on some days.
But we actually had a volunteer event right after we had the company take down the trees, and we did all the chipping, with volunteer assistants helping to drag the limbs and whatnot for the chipper. Yeah, that was a big help. Okay, well, while we start gathering
Very
people
nice.
over
Yeah.
here,
That'd be great.
and we will explain a little bit about the summit. Actually, we can gather right in the center.
Okay.
The dog, it's a
Dog grooming, yeah, kennel.
No, that's a
That's on San Pedro.
across from Mary Grant.
wow.
Right there.
I have such a terrible sense of direction.
Me too. Me too. Me too. Me too. You're not the only one.
So folks, I know it's a little chilly out here, so we won't talk for too long.
Right across from that, yeah.
We do have a few copies of our preliminary summit design. If you're interested, I'll need these copies back, but there are 3 copies available. So this is what was worked up as part of the proposal.
Well, you know what? I'd like to show this on the camera.
Here, let me see.
Yeah, if you could just hold it. Yeah.
Yeah, just keeping in mind that this is preliminary.
Right. Preliminary. Yep.
The design may change. This was part of our request for proposals when we put the project out to bid. So what's shown here is the trail, of course, leading up to the summit, and then a trail around this grassy area that we're standing on here. In part using that paved surface, but we'll be building that up with gravel to the same type of surface that the trail will have. And along the way there will be a few spots for accessible picnic tables. And those are actually, pardon me, there you go. So the tables that you see up here were donated, and they are an accessible design. You'll notice they're longer at the ends than a typical picnic table, and that's to allow our friends with wheelchairs to pull up at either end and be able to sit with everyone else at the same table. So, so those will be rearranged. They're going to be stained this summer, and they'll be rearranged to be at these accessible picnic areas, and then the trail, of course, would go around. Now, keeping in mind, we might run into obstacles that could necessarily change this design. So this is not final, but this is the idea, the concept. So we'd love to see this come to be. And
Now it says view shed.
yes.
So are there going to be
There are specific places where you can see certain views. So there's, of course, Mount Washington view. There's a view of Wilson Lake over there, Square Pond over this way. So these locations where people can get to with a wheelchair or assistive device will have those views. So, people that are able to traverse any kind of terrain can walk wherever they want to get the right view, but we want to make sure that folks using wheelchairs can get to these places where the best pictures are.
And so there'll be, and I'm sorry if you said this, but there'll be like signs or something to indicate what you're looking at.
That's part of our kind of second phase after the construction. We've been very much concentrated on that construction, but we do have a certain amount of limited funding for signage, and I do hope that we can get that type of sign
That's
installed.
after you build the fire tower, and then you can have it.
There you go, climb the fire tower. Well, they have to have an elevator, so you can take the elevator to the top.
Right.
Looks like the kids are building a fort.
Yeah, that's after you bring the three-phase power up there.
That's right. So yes.
Have restrooms up here at all?
Probably not at the summit, but one of the important parts of the project is raising enough money to have at least a temporary solution at the parking area.
Yeah.
We do want some restroom on site. That's very important, especially because this is going to be a unique trail that people travel perhaps a long distance to get to. We want to make sure that they're comfortable while they use the trail. The nearest, I suppose, town hall would be the nearest accessible restroom facility, but that's not open.
Right.
So at first, you may just have a accessible porta-san or porta potty available down at the parking lot. That will be part of the construction and final design of this place. Over time, I hope to create a more permanent facility, but that's a conversation going on with the town of Acton. Of course, it's their property, so
Something like Mary Grant.
that kind of a permanent building. So any other questions?
No, this is
Fabulous job so far.
oh yes, beautiful for the public.
Yeah, it's
Yes.
Very excited about it.
It's coming together. I mean, this has been a long process, and it will continue to be a process. Even once the trail is completed and we are able to open it to our friends and family members that have mobility devices and need that accessible standard met. Even once that's achieved, we will still have ongoing maintenance, ongoing improvements, just making this place the best it can be and making sure it stays that way.
Are there any other ones that have been completed and successful in the state of Maine that are handicap accessible?
There are many accessible trails.
Really?
That's
Okay.
true. Mount Agamenticus is one of the most.
Okay.
Yes, and
That's in York, probably.
I'm not actually
South
clear on
Berwick?
that.
No, Ecumenics is in
Oh yeah.
I think it might be York, yeah.
Yeah.
I've only seen pictures from the place. I haven't visited it myself. So they have a summit accessible area, but you do have to drive up the slope to get there.
Yeah.
So I don't, and there are a great number of land trusts, towns, and other places that have created accessible trails that go to interesting places. Usually the trails are short because accessible trails are expensive to build, but they are totally worth it.
Absolutely.
And this is unique in that I haven't heard of any other trail in the state of Maine, at least, that climbs this considerable distance. So as I said on the walk up, it will be a challenge to some.
Sure.
You know, even when it is fully constructed, it will still be a challenging trail. And I think, you know, because there are other options in the state that are flat, easy, you know, and there are more being designed all the time, you know, slowly coming into existence. Not to say that there shouldn't be more, but I kind of like that there's going to be this one that will be a challenge for some folks. You know,
Absolutely.
I like a challenge.
Well,
I like
say
climbing
there will be a lot
steep
of
hill, you know,
people
getting
would
to the top.
really like to have a challenge rather than just a flat surface.
Yeah, and feeling that sense of achievement.
Sure.
Even if you only get part way up, take a rest, and head back down, it could still be a challenge and a nice experience in the woods. Absolutely.
Yeah, very nice. Very. Yep.
Is showing our neighbor over there the designs.
How did you find the trail?
I actually did pretty well.
Yeah,
There's a couple.
right?
There's a couple places I thought I was done.
Right?
You know, and then it went this way.
Yeah.
So that was a little. But yeah, although I do think it, for me personally, it was
Yes.
good that we stopped.
Okay.
And you chatted.
Right.
Yes.
Right.
Because
right.
like if there had been a bench
Right.
there, I might have
Continue-
actually
yes.
sat on the bench just
Right, and that's
to give
what we're-
myself a minute and then.
Exactly. That does highlight. Yeah. I've felt the same myself on tough days when I've been working the muscles a little too hard, and I started climbing these steeper portions. I'm like, this really needs to be gentler.
When I first came up, I was winded, because I didn't stop. But stopping made it a lot easier.
It made it a lot different, yeah.
I'm like, boy, am I at it.
Well, plus you have I have sinuses, allergies, so you're not breathing.
Right, exactly.
If anyone is not on our mailing list, our e-news list, and would like to be for just keeping up on the projects, I do have a notebook and my weird left-handed pen. But
okay. Oh, we like left-handed pens,
right?
I didn't even know there was such a thing. I'm left-handed. I didn't even know
Oh, you're really good for you.
If you don't want to scribble it on there. So yeah, I'll just
walking around.
I don't send out a lot of stuff, but just about
Is it once a month roughly?
Yeah, roughly. And if you have events that are coming up, that
one of the possible designs of the summit.
I think I'm on your
we're standing here in the middle
because I think I got a mail.
So I have a new calendar.
Did you really? So then, just put it down anyway, just as,
So we're going to have
won't hurt.
an accessible trail to
Yeah, we
here,
trail
there,
away.
here, and these all have beautiful tables. They're designed to view sheds and picnic spaces.
Second Saturday of May, and that's at Hobbs Farm, right up
There'll
on
be
Fox Ridge.
little declines, little declines,
But
I know.
what a great idea.
They're
do that,
so
yeah.
we have them scheduled out through October, I think.
Yeah, so I'll catch one if I can.
Yeah, and that's it.
How many photos?
That's a long email. Okay.
It was amazing, and it kind of rained a little bit, but it had been so long
But the
since
intention
we'd all
is
been
that
out.
if people want to come up here and sit and have a picnic and sit in Washington, they'll be able to. This one is the Wilson Lake. Probably. Well, this is the view of Wilson Lake.
I had no idea where that was.
Square pond and
I tried to find it.
I'm sorry.
You have to come out and get it.
She ain't kidding when she said her left pen.
Oh my goodness.
The land trust is leading the project, and we
We have not marked yet.
the land trust is in
Yes,
charge of
that's the
construction.
next step.
The town is our
There
very
is
close
flagging.
partner. We've signed a maintenance and use agreement.
Walk right by it. Yeah, we can get that done. And we'll have a new map out too. So.
It's a very nice cooperation.
There's not a kiosk.
They are contributing $500 a year to the maintenance fund. So the town is involved with the maintenance, but we'll be guiding the maintenance over time.
Glenn, I have your email.
Yeah, Glenn, we have your still.
You can put it down.
What's this?
Yeah.
Well, and you don't need to,
but they have your email address.
Yeah. I did say. It's my crooked pen for my crooked writing.
Guys, you're gonna have to stop putting that.
Wait, couldn't we just stay here for a little bit more?
Just a little few minutes more until they're done. Then you're gonna have to put all those brushes near the tree, okay? No.
Okay, kids.
Okay. All right. Stop putting.
If you wanted to stay up here with them, you're certainly welcome to.
Well, do you have any? Well, no, I'll walk down with you because you may say something vital to the.
Okay.
Come on, guys.
And at the parking lot, if you need more explanation about anything, please
How was
ask me
How was the
specific
beginning?
questions. It was good. It was good, but it was a little bit disorganized. You didn't miss.
Oh, okay, good.
Mostly
good.
introductions from
Okay,
myself and
all right.
Carl and Ruth.
Unbelievable, huh?
Yeah.
Put it on the side near that big tree.
I'm gonna help you guys bring this stuff over.
Just here.
That was nice.
Thank you.
Next time you guys come up here, all of this stuff will be right here. You can start all over.
Oopsie, be careful. I'm sorry. Oh, be careful
It's
here.
fun stuff, but we want to make sure it's easy for everybody else.
Yes.
Oh, this one is.
Thank you for allowing us to.
Somebody help me with
Yeah, they can feel free to do this stuff like this, as long as it all gets back.
Right.
Can I fit in my hand?
Okay, come on. Almost done. Almost done. All right. Don't throw. Walk, please. Oh,
That's mine. Don't fall.
oh, that's yours. Okay.
Yeah, my walking stick.
Okay, that's her walking stick. Yeah, how? Oh, 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 okay. All right, Lily, get your walk. Oh, put that brush
Watch your footing.
right there and get your walking stick. Thank you. This is beautiful. Now, I know you have the Hanson Pond. Hanson Pond?
The Hanson Pond Preserve, sure.
Yes. I discovered that the other day.
Watch your step through here.
Yes.
It's a little rugged.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, the Hanson Pond Preserve is great. We just finished that trail a few years ago.
Yeah.
2 years ago, I believe.
Mm-hmm.
And it's one of my favorites. I worked a lot on that trail.
Oh, good, yeah.
And I love getting out there to the pond.
Right. How big is the pond anyway?
It's about 30 acres.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so not very large. And as you can see in certain seasons, it is slowly filling in.
Oh, really?
So, yeah. It's originally a beaver impound.
Yeah.
And the beaver do keep up the dam still.
Yes.
But yeah, that it slowly has more and more vegetation growth, especially on the shallow end to the west, I believe.
Okay.
And so eventually it may become mostly a bog.
Right.
But that could take 50 years to happen.
Right.
Or the beaver could stop maintaining the dam and it might blow out.
Yep.
So it could turn into a bog rather quickly if that
happens. And how many miles is that? Well, a mile and a half, or?
It's 1.2 miles each way. So
okay.
1.2 miles out to the pond.
Because I walked half of it with my daughter, but I was pressed for time.
Yes.
So I had to
You
walk back.
might have gotten up to the ridge at least, which is very
Yes,
nice.
yes. But we'll venture there again.
Absolutely.
Yeah. What? Okay, we're going to eat something, honey.
So,
Be careful. No, stay on the trail.
yeah, you might want to stay on the trail. What you're doing right now is called cutting the switchback.
Oh.
Not recommended.
Okay, walk on the trail.
And the only reason it's not recommended is that it ends up causing erosion that falls down onto the trail below.
Yep.
You weren't doing too damage damage yourself, but if everybody did what you
Exactly.
did, you'd have a new trail for me.
Walk on the trail.
I appreciate it, sir.
Thank you.
They're still in the front.
Yeah, she sure is. Oh boy.
I've been in the back of the
In my youth, I've definitely done my share of
Oh, I'm
switchback
sure.
cutting,
I'm sure we all did. We all did. You know?
but to trim back some of these
Yeah.
shrubs,
Yes. Very
What's growing
nice.
here on the edges
Yes.
is elderberry.
So could
and
you
raspberry.
explain this again?
Yes, so this is landscape fabric, which
Yep.
goes underneath the gravel in order to stabilize the gravel and make sure it doesn't mix too much with the mud underneath.
Right, okay.
So the fact that we're seeing some of it, you see there's a rock right under there?
Yes.
And here.
Yep.
In some places, the rocks were, too many rocks were left underneath this landscape fabric, and then the surface gravel was too thin. So
Okay.
as the gravel has settled, it's compacted too much, and now we see the landscape fabric. So the next phase of the trail will involve putting at least 6 inches of gravel additional on top of this.
Oh, okay.
In some places where it's worn away, we will be replacing the landscape fabric or augmenting it. And that top gravel layer should make it so that we don't see this fabric ever again.
Good.
That's going to be very expensive.
Yes, the whole project is.
Right?
You're absolutely right.
Right.
It takes getting people in here with
Exactly.
small machinery.
Yeah.
On tracks or wheels that will be able to bring in all this gravel and dump it, and then break it out. Push it out. And then you have to get a compactor, a vibrating
Right.
compactor.
Wow.
Yeah.
Yep.
To,
Pack it all down.
to pack it
Why
all
are there
down.
always leaves on my shoes?
I wonder who's want to ride their dirt
Look at
bike
the
here.
tracks. The fabric on your sneakers attracts it. What, Micah?
Didn't quite hear that.
Yeah, I didn't either.
You said after a while that you guys are gonna like remove all this stuff to make ATVs on it.
No ATVs.
I'm afraid no ATVs on this trail.
No
They
ATVs.
would chop up the gravel
Oh,
too much.
definitely.
The next person that wanted to come up here with a wheelchair would have
I
to
know. I know.
Because you've been on an ATV track, right, that had ruts and, and like puddles.
Oh,
and pockets,
sure.
right? Yeah. So that sort of thing can't happen here, or else the wheelchair users wouldn't be able to
Exactly.
Or old people. Like,
right. You
Like-
want somebody
like
to trip
Grammy.
into a puddle, right?
that would not be nice.
No.
So I can imagine some people, even with like canes and walkers, might be able to use this a lot easier than other trails.
Yeah. And truthfully, the first time I walked this trail, I was winded. I wasn't used to the incline. But this time around, and you stopped, and it was pretty good.
Yeah, I'm
Not
glad
winded at all.
Glad I thought to stop there. I tend to get into tunnel vision mode and just go at my normal walking
Right.
speed.
Pretty
That was
good.
almost epic.
Right. Yep. We don't want epic, Micah.
It was pretty cool looking, but
Right. Oh, no, this is beautiful. And I'm glad there's trails for the public because now what's happening, and I'm all for private property, don't get me wrong, you can't go,
Right.
And it's sad, like the other day I lived it with the Perkins Cove, you had to pay for parking.
really,
And years ago, you could find parking. It's getting limited, that's what I'm trying to say.
yeah. No, that's one of the big drivers behind a lot of the trail building that the Land Trust does. Is that we just see so much restricted access going on. We want to make sure that these certain places stay more accessible.
Exactly.
Good to see a lot of people on the trail. Usually when I come here, I almost always see someone. It's pretty popular. But I'm just seeing one or two folks at a time.
Yes.
I like seeing the groups.
Yes.
And maybe that's a leftover feeling from all the COVID of the past 2 years.
Exactly.
It's just you like seeing people gathered. Now.
Yes.
It's unusual, it's fun.
Well, people need people.
Indeed.
So what was your major in college?
I majored in ecology and environmental sciences primarily.
Oh, okay.
Went and got my master's out at the University of Illinois, but my original college, my four-year college, was Unity, right here in Maine.
Oh, okay.
And so I really fell in love with Maine when I went to
Yes.
college. Spent my time out in Illinois, got that master's degree, and then said,
Good for you,
I want to be
yes.
back in the Northeast. And
Right.
that's what I did.
Yeah.
Believe it or not, I I spent over 5 years working in New York City for the Parks Department there.
I'm from New York.
Oh yeah? Oh, I could hear that in your accent. Actually.
Oh yeah.
I wasn't sure if it
yes.
was New York
I
for
wouldn't
sure.
want to be there. I have friends there now. No.
No, it's a tough place right now.
It is.
The past
It
couple
is.
years.
Yes.
But yeah, I lived and worked on Staten Island for the most
Oh
part.
my goodness. Okay.
There are a
I'm
lot
from
more parkland
Brooklyn.
there.
Yes.
I've been, in my service to the Parks Department, I've been to Prospect Park a few
Good
times.
for you.
Beautiful
Yes.
place. I did actually.
Oh yes, that is pretty. Yes.
Did more running there than actually working because I would do New York Roadrunners races.
Oh, okay.
So they had a few in Prospect Park.
Yeah. Good for you.
But yeah, I lived there for over 5 years, and after about 3 years, I said,
Yeah.
city life is not really for me.
Right?
I grew up in places like
Exactly.
this. I really wanted to get back to it, so I hatched a plan to
Oh yes.
to do something else, and I
Good for
actually
you.
went on the Appalachian Trail for most of a year.
Oh wow.
I did a hike from Georgia to Maine.
Wow.
That was 2013, and then I have been working in the Northeast ever since.
Wow. Good for you.
Specifically in Maine, actually.
Yeah. Good for you. What did you say, hon?
That's water.
Oh.
A rock like that, if you remember,
Oh.
would actually be a decent sitting place. That's sort of what we're thinking of.
When you first started, were you also working for another organization?
Yes, because I'm only half-time with the Land Trust, a little bit over half-time.
Yeah. So are you still doing both?
I still work for other organizations.
This tree right here.
Oh, neat. Is that woodpecker
Yeah.
That's what
activity?
we've decided.
Probably the pileated.
We don't know if we're right, but that's what we've decided.
Yeah. They've apparently found something delicious in the center of that tree.
If you say something with enough authority,
Right?
we'll believe it.
Down there, you can tell how much it's chipped out.
So yes, right now I kind of carry on 2 other jobs in addition. I work part-time for the Southern Maine Conservation Collaborative, which is it's an organization with kind of a broad goal of helping conservation accelerate in Maine. I could explain it better if I had the materials in front of me, but I work with a specific program there. It's called the Rapid Response Team. And this team is a group of people, myself included, that try to help small land trusts close land acquisitions. So if they have a piece of property that they are suddenly interested in, but it feels like too big of a project for them, maybe they need a little bit of extra help to make the deal come together, then I and several other people in the team basically airdrop into the situation and say, okay, what do you need? How can we help?
Yeah.
And it's free to the land trust to use that service. It's been grant funded through an anonymous foundation. So we really have had a few successful projects with that, which is really great.
Oh, nice.
So that's a job that I carry on the side, and then I also have a business under which I do a wide variety of things for land trust, from invasive species management, grant applications, helping with membership and development. Basically, whatever I have the skills for that I can offer to a land trust, I do. But yeah, that fills up my
It keeps
time.
you busy, yeah.
It does. It does.
I don't want
I really like being out here.
Yes.
I am also looking forward to those more frequent bench seating areas. Come out here to do a little nature sketch or a little bit of writing would be very pleasant. And you get to say hello to folks that are using the trail.
Yes.
Unfortunately, I do live a little ways from here. I'm about 40 minutes north from the town of West Baldwin.
Oh.
But I travel down here often.
Yeah.
I'm very pleased to work with the Three Rivers Land Trust.
Yeah.
They're a great organization.
They are.
A very active board. Of course, Carl Davis is here today, being the project manager of this and many other projects. He's been on the board for longer than I've been with the Land Trust, and pretty much since the beginning of the Land Trust, 2000, I believe. And he's just absolutely great. And he's a good example of the kind of energy that we have on board. Of people willing to dive into projects, as a volunteer. Got all of my board members are volunteers unpaid.
Very hard work.
And just, work toward those goals that they originally started the land festival. I love it. I love seeing people follow their passions and getting to be a part of that.
So when is the projected start for the work to pick up?
June, 1st of June, more or less.
Yeah.
You'll probably see our volunteers out here sooner than that.
I'll be listening to that.
But yes, the June to possibly late August is the construction period this year. And unfortunately, that is during the time when a lot of people like to enjoy the trail and it may be closed on some days. But it's also good for them.
And actually, if it can be done in August, completed in August, it'd be perfect for the fall.
Leaf peeper season, yes. And also for Kite Day, which, Kite Days are...
Now, Cheryl, I see pink ribbons.
Yes.
Is there a purpose for that?
Yeah, that's probably left over from one of the...
surveying
one of the
or...
original layouts of the trail.
Okay, I was wondering if that was a specific idea that...
Right, yeah. It's
okay.
left over at this point, but the trail has been through so many phases.
Right.
Where there's different ideas about where to put certain
See, like
things.
there.
Yeah,
Yeah,
a little bit of
okay.
flagging. In fact, I'll collect that bit right now.
All right. I was just curious if that was a...
Unless this is flagging an invasive plant. Nope, that's a native plant. So
Okay.
I'll take that right off. Sometimes I'll put a flag on an invasive plant
of course.
to make sure I remember to come back and remove it.
I was just curious.
Yeah, I'd like to collect all those bits of flagging eventually. It just looks like litter in the woods eventually.
Yeah.
Can't have that.
No. Very nice. And what a beautiful day, too, for this, too. It's not
really
rainy.
And cool enough to keep people cool while they're climbing.
Right.
Could have been a little warmer at the summit, but
I dressed for it. I thought I was overdressed, but I'm glad because...
So one of the things that we're addressing
is
the trail needs to be so wide. At
exactly.
least. But this sort of thing right here, it presents more of a hazard than we like.
Exactly.
That immediate drop off. So either covering that up or making the trail a little bit wider to make sure that people can have a margin of safety.
Yes.
No trail is entirely safe.
Right.
We always say that, and it's important to remember. But we can make it a little bit safer, especially for the folks that are using assistive devices.
Exactly. Yes.
So here, along this stretch, we will most likely, this is the design that's been described to me, we'll most likely have curbstones. Basically set in pieces of stone right along here that would keep a wheel from going off that edge.
Awesome, yes.
That would be an important part of it.
Yes. Very nice.
A turn like this is probably the tightest we have on the whole trail, and we may try to make this wider. It might involve taking out a tree or two, which is something we don't care for entirely. But if we can make this a little bit wider for people to come around this corner, it may, we're not sure, but it may enable the use of assistive bicycles.
Oh.
I don't know if you've ever seen one, but it's basically a tricycle with a hand crank.
Oh, wow,
and so you can crank yourself up the hill using one of those. Now, we won't be absolutely certain what types of devices can successfully use this.
Right.
Until we're finished with the trail, we know all of the parameters.
Right.
And one of the things that's going to be important to do is to put signage at the trailhead where people can read and understand what the trail has in store. And so if they have a particular assistive device, like a bike or a different design of motorized chair, many things are on the market that enable people to go out adventuring. So whatever their design is, they can look at the specifications that we're going to put on that signage and say, I think my device can do this, or maybe it really can't and I shouldn't try.
Right.
that's going to be an important part of the puzzle. Also, the grades, the climbs. You know, some people reading the description of the trail might think it's great, but if they read the specifications, they might be like, "Oh, that's too steep."
Right,
I'd rather not try
right.
it. So we want to make sure they
Hi.
have the information they need.
Hello.
That they have the information they need to
Now,
have a
what's
successful experience. out
what stops this from eroding?
So this is part of what we're going to address. In certain
Okay.
places like this that we've had to dig the trail so deep,
Right.
the edge has been left rough. And I can tell from here that a little bit of erosion has happened. You can see that dirt accumulating
Yep.
on the edge. And so it'd be better if this was cut back into a more stable slope.
Yep. Yeah.
Now, if we have the funding available, this is kind of an aesthetics issue on the trail. If we have the funding available, we will do that in most places. There will be a few spots that still look like this, and as you can see, moss is already growing.
Yep.
And that's going to help to stabilize. Eventually, grass will take hold.
Yeah.
But ideally, we would have less of a sheer cliff here.
Right.
And, you know, you can see with all the root material, it does end up looking a little messy. So we're also thinking about the aesthetic experience of the trail.
Yeah.
It's a beautiful trail as it is.
Oh, it is.
But little places like that where we
Right.
can make improvements, we would.
Well, I was just thinking of a heavy downpour.
Exactly, yes. Yeah. But I think that these have held up fairly well. These cuts have been in place for several years now.
Yeah.
And they haven't eroded too much. But you're absolutely right to point that out. It's one of the things that our contractor also is aware of and planning to address. I'm wearing kind of thin-soled shoes. And I can feel the stones under my feet.
Oh,
And it's a little,
yes. Yeah, I hear you.
I did a long hike yesterday, so my
Oh, you
feet are a
did?
little
Yes.
sore. And I can just imagine now a dog's paws, like
Oh, yes.
one gentleman was saying at the beginning. I don't know if you were here for that.
No.
He's like, so if you put smoother gravel down, it'll be nicer for dog paws. Yeah, you're right. Yeah, that's exactly true.
Yeah.
It just makes the experience better for everyone when it's easier.
Yes.
You know, when more care is taken.
Culverts
and
put in
designed.
too. That's a great idea. Yep.
This one I hope to. We're right now on the section that will be bypassed.
Oh.
So this section is kind of a big C shape, and right over there it goes up too steep of a hill.
Okay.
So our designer has found a route that will cut off this C section. You know, cut off this leg of the trail. And so our accessible route will actually be somewhat shorter than this current trail
I
is.
see. Okay.
But this will still be open to walking.
Okay. Yeah.
We probably won't do many modifications over here, so it won't be accessible.
Right.
But the accessible route will exist right over there. And there'll be clear signage, of course, indicating which way to go. Sometimes I like to fast forward in my mind a little bit and think of what this place will look like in like 50 years.
Yes.
And all these freshly turned over boulders that have only been here a few years, I imagine them all getting covered in moss.
Yes.
And, and looking more natural, lichens and everything.
Another culvert.
I was saying also about aesthetics. One thing I'd love to do is to kind of build up with rock over these a little bit to shield them a little bit more, make it look more natural. But that's that's an aesthetic thing for far in the future, I think. First things first.
This is beautiful, though. This is just so beautiful.
I'll see if I can spot the flagging where we're doing that cut through.
Oh, okay.
It's still up. We set it last year, so I think it's up ahead of us a ways.
Okay.
So you can see we're having to climb now. And one of the things that this shortcut piece will do is cut off the section that goes down and then up.
Right.
Because why do you need to go down?
Exactly.
You got enough to climb.
Right. I'm looking for a flag. Would it be orange?
Yeah, I think they're through the woods over there.
Oh, I see flags, orange flags there.
So that's the
Okay.
That's the proposed cutoff route. And you can see that's kind of going across a relatively flat section. And that's the idea, is to not go down and then up, but just to stay on the flat.
Right. got it.
We'll be able to see the first of those from here. And that was on this one, which we showed at the beginning. Let's walk up to the point.
Yeah.
So before we start descending right there.
Mm-hmm.
So we are here. Let me orient this to the parking lot. We're right there.
Mm-hmm.
This black dashed line is the section that goes down and then back up again. And so that is quite unnecessary. What we'll do instead is take a turn and go through the woods along the line of these flags here.
Mm-hmm.
And join up with the rest of the trail after it climbs back up.
Oh, okay, yeah.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm,
There'll be
better.
another slight reroute there. And then the trail will continue mostly on the path that we walked.
Wonderful.
So, overall, the blue line will be what you see in the end. And the dashed lines are some of the sections that we're going to modify and bypass.
Yep.
So you can see we're making these corners longer so that the grade is gentler.
Exactly.
And going around certain places. So this little zigzag in the middle, that's quite nice to walk. We might leave that open as an optional trail.
Right.
And this will be remaining open as a walkable trail, but not an accessible one.
Wonderful, yes. Thank you.
See, there are a lot of boulders.
Yes. Yeah, I see that. So, Cheryl, when we ended, could you just introduce yourself again? Because I missed that.
And I'll try to get Ruth to do the same.
Yes, please. And Carl, if he's around. I just...
No, that's quite all right. I'm sorry you had trouble with your camera. I hate when that sort of thing happens. I was glad that you made it back right for the start of the walk.
Yeah. Yes.
Oh boy, they got it right to the top of that boulder, didn't they?
Yeah.
I didn't know that was climbable.
I didn't either. But you know, kids will be kids. Hi. All righty. Okay, so.
What do you want for a background around here? This right here?
Yeah, that'd be great.
Before that.
Yeah, I'll give my introduction.
Yes, okay, wonderful. I'm sorry.
No,
Go ahead.
quite all right. My name is Sherry Bernault. I am the Executive Director at the Three Rivers Land Trust. And I have been helping with this project here at Goat Hill to create a 0.8 mile long accessible trail route. This will be accessible to things like wheelchairs, powered wheelchairs. It may still be a challenge for some, but we're looking forward to getting the trail open to those standards.
Okay.
So Ruth might be available.
Ruth? I missed you earlier.
Sorry.
Are you available to give your intro?
I am available to give my intro. Let's see, where did I start from?
Your name?
Did you talk about the grant?
No, I just gave a basic thing about the trail.
You can
So the reason that we are able to start this next phase of work on the trail, next and last, is that we received a $50,000 grant from the Recreational Trails Program, which is a federal trails program. And this is going to allow us to hire the contractor, the trail builder that we need to finish the project. We're looking to raise an additional $50,000 to do this work, which will encompass the trail and the summit work at the top to make a nice picnic area that's also accessible. So we are starting that fundraising now. As Sherry may have said, we're going to have some volunteer work days as part of the trail building project. And we're really looking for support from everywhere to get this project done. We've had a lot of generous donors from Acton and the surrounding areas to help get this done, and we're hoping that people can even make a small donation will help us get this work done.
Okay, thank you so much, Ruth.
You are welcome.
Okay. Carl? Carl? Do you want to do a quick introduction? Yes, you know, it's me. You know me. Introduction.
What do you want me to do?
Just say you're on the board and what your plans are and your dreams are for this trail.
Oh, okay. Hi, Carl Davis. I'm on the Three Rivers Land Trust Board. I'm Vice President, and we've worked on this project for 6 years to get an accessible trail to the peak of Goat Hill. This summer we're going to complete that, and we're all excited about that and hope everybody can come and celebrate with us when we do complete it.
Okay, thank you so much, Carl. And thank you for all the work you've been doing. Okay?
Yep.
All righty.
Yeah.
Okay. We're wrapping this up. Awesome.